Hello and welcome back to Europa Universalis for another hide and seek time-lapse. If you're new to this format, let me clue you in really quick. Basically, this is a normal time-lapse through 1444 through 1821. However, there is one small little twist, and that twist was that one of these nations was played by myself on Iron Man mode through the entire campaign, and it is up to you, dear viewer, to figure out which nation I was playing as. All you have to do is comment down below which nation you thought I was playing as, and the first 5 people to guess the correct nation will get a shout out in the reveal video. These videos do take a long time to produce, so I'd really appreciate it if you comment down below who you thought I was, give this video a like, and if you want to see more of this, subscribe. But let's get right into this. Starting off nice and slow, just keeping an eye out for any little changes there. Muscovy, of course, pushing into Novgorod, no changes there. Across the seas here, we can see that Malwa has taken over Gondwana, a large cam, as per usual. Poland digging into the Teutonics, no change there. The Great Horde has shattered Crimea, taking those lands, but will they be pushed away by the Ottomans, as usual? England has done it. They have managed to keep most of their lands in France, while also pushing up into Scotland and into Ireland. France, however, then taking those lands, England being isolated now. The Spanish have managed to take the Lowlands and Burgundian lands. That'll give them a lot of influence in mainland Europe. Bohemia building big, shattering Saxony, almost unseeable there, tiny province left. Hungary taking Wallachia. The Ottomans will need to push back to get dominance. We can see here there's a battle between Bengal and Orissa. Orissa getting the best of them at the moment. Wanpur might be on Bengal's side, or Orissa's. It can really be a 50-50. Small battle between the hordes and the Tengri tribes here. Yang Zhao seems to have gotten the better of Haixi, taking that land. Japan being split in a 3-way here. Takeda, Oda, and Yamana, who will take control. Bahamnis destroyed. Gujarat and Vijayanagar seem to be the big players now. The Mamelukes building into modern-day Iraq, and down here we can also see a strong Ethiopia and Ajudan conquering its neighbours. We can also see Sakalava taking over Madagascar here. We'll see how long they last before Kilwa shoves them off. Poland digging into Hungary there. Bohemia as well. Bohemia taking a massive swath of land. Also Brandenburg to look out for. England pushing further into Ireland. And Denmark taking away from the Norwegians, as well as splitting that top half between Muscovy, which turns into Russia just as quickly there. The Great Horde still looking large, however it looks like they might be pushed away by the Ottomans, who are now expanding into Crimea. Aragon being shoved off of the Iberian Peninsula by Castile. They've still got some of these lands in the Mediterranean, however they might be pushed off by Naples, or perhaps a surprisingly large Lucca, who keeps on expanding. It's the 1550s and the Mamluks still look strong. If anything, I think they've actually taken land from the Ottomans. Very surprising and not very common. The Timurids still around, and we're still watching this battle here. Orissa seems to have been completely capitulated by Bengal. They'll probably have a lot of power in this trade node now. Ayutthaya there being taken away by Malacca. Seem to have a bit of dominance, but now being crushed by Hasenwi and Malacca. Malacca usually gaining quite a lot of control in this area via trade. Ajuran building big, even taking a few bits of land there into the Arabian Peninsula. The Mamluks still strong. Tunis looking quite mighty there in northern Africa. It's a battle between Congo and the smaller tribes here. Kilwa is finally taking some land. We're seeing some colonization here by the Spanish and the British. Over in the new lands we can see that the French have destroyed the Incan stronghold there, as well as the Portuguese making a big show of power in Brazil. The British building big in Mexico there, as well as Louisiana. It looks like Friesland's having a go at colonization. Castile finding themselves in Canada, not a usual spot for them. Oh wow, Sardinia, Piedmont has showed up there. They seem to have quite a lot of control within, of course, the Sardinian and Piedmont area, as well as Naples. Lucca still looking surprisingly large. The Commonwealth has formed, but we'll see how long they last. with a mighty Russia on the bounds here. Ajuran still looking quite large, a large Oman as well, and the Mamluks still about. This Ethiopia looming large, but most likely get crushed by their Muslim neighbours. Delhi looking big, Bengal looking big, Gujarat and Vijayanagar. We'll see who prevails within the Indian Peninsula. There's a big Manchu not often being formed, and as well as Takeda looking the most dominant on the Japanese island. Can they push off Yamna and form Japan? We'll see. Gazamuk is taking over some of the lands that the hordes left behind. The Ottomans looking to push through with what was previously Hungary and Tunisia. Or Tunis, or rather, has pushed into Italy. Not often for them did they manage to get control of these lands, but it was probably inevitable considering Aragon's fall from grace. Tuscany forming from the corpse of Sardinia Piedmont, who looks to have been crushed by France. Bohemia looking strong as ever, and Sweden managed to push back against Denmark. Norway being released and them getting control of the Baltics. A battle going on in North America here. The Portuguese on the west coast, the French, Castilian and English pushing here on the east coast. Friesland unfortunately being pushed away. In Africa here we can see that Mali is taking most of that West African land there. Friesland actually having a small dig into the Congo here. Kilwa and Ajuran very big on this eastern coast. The Mamluks still standing strong, having a few provinces taken away by the Ottomans and the Timurids. The Timurids still about. Gujarat looking strong here. Vijayanagar seems like they're on the back foot. Bengal being overshadowed, oddly enough, by Kachar, although the provinces probably aren't very good. Senwe taking control of this peninsula here, Malacca trying to push it, but we'll see how that goes. Malaccan. The Malaccans have decided, oh no, the Malayans have taken it over. We seem to have a Malayan East Siberia, and the Kamjadals doing their best to take control of that land, protect their tribe. Oh, there we go, the Ottomans have crushed the Commonwealth looking a shadow of its former self. Bohemia still, however, looking very strong, and Aragon managing to brutally force its way into Tunis lands. Probably a bit of help from the Moroccans there. Not too much going on in Central Europe, with Cleves looking big. Friesland managed to hold on to its mainland there, and a few other provinces. Bohemia shadowing over everyone. Denmark getting a few provinces back. We'll see how long that lasts. Colonially is as you'd expect, except for perhaps this Portuguese here, the Castilians in Canada, the British forming most of Mexico, oddly enough. South America looking rather bitty there. The Portuguese managing to get some of the coast. However, the French seem to have most of the mainland, with the Castilians coming in last at the Cape there. Friesland having a right good go at it, colonising quite a lot of this western coast here. Yaka forming. Ajuran looking quite large against the Mamluks and the Ottomans there. Quite a strong powerhouse going down the coast here. Kilwa looking fairly powerful as well. The Portuguese and the Malaccans. The Malaccans have decided to join the Portuguese and colonising Australia. Malaya looking fairly decent. Perhaps they're still a Hindu. And Gujarat and Bengal have taken the large share of the Indian Peninsula there. Gazamuk looking strong. I'm sure they have some good alliances there, perhaps with the Timurids or the Ottomans. Most likely the Ottomans, considering that Russia will most likely be their greatest threat at the moment. The French pushing in, taking some provinces from Mali there. They'll most likely push in and take most of this Western African lands. The British looking fairly dominant in North America here. The Spanish managing to get Pacifico Norte. Bengal looking very, very intimidating there. Gujarat and the Timurids may have to look east and take a few provinces from them. The Mamelukes still looking very strong. It's quite surprising. I don't think I've ever seen an alliance between the Mamelukes and the Ottomans. However, I must wonder how the Mamluks managed to stay afloat. Spain taking away from Aragon as easily as they give, and Tunis is completely wiped off. Morocco even seeming to get a few provinces there. Italy being split between Tuscany and Sardinia Piedmont. The Palatinate and Mecklenburg seem to have a stronger hold there, coming out of the ashes. Bohemia still looking very intimidating, not giving up its hold in Eastern Europe there. Friesland giving a right good go and taking most of the Danish homelands there. Lubeck being taken by the British. A very strong Ajuran is taking away from Ethiopia, growing itself within this trade node here. The Gazamuk have seemed to be crushed by the Timurids. Maybe a betrayal? We'll never know. Takeda have managed to form Japan, but it may all be for nothing. The Koreans looking very strong, taking some of the southern side of the large island there. Tuscany have managed to push Sardinia Piedmont off the mainland of Italy there. The Sardinia Piedmont, no longer Piedmont much, mostly Sardinia. Spain has managed to push back against French colonization and has taken most of this Western African coast. Next up, Frisian lands to be conquered, and it seems to be over there. Going from 1821, we seem to have some surprise runners, the Timurids, not only managing to stay about, but managing to become even stronger than their initial starting position. The Mamelukes not capitulating to the Ottomans. A large Gujarat, a massive Bengal, Ajiran and Kilwa within the same continent. Bohemia looking very, very strong there, and even some Frisian expansion. So as always, leave a comment down below which nation you thought I was playing as, and I'll see you next time.